We're live. All right. So today we're going to go through a couple of things that we went through last week. We're going to try to move this a little bit so you can actually see the whole board. And I will, again, take a picture and post it on Facebook. And I don't know that I can post it on here, but I can try. So of the board so that you can have this. But I highly suggest notebook and pen or pencil. So that you can take your own notes, because sometimes you may have a question or you may have, add-ons to what I'm writing up here, and it'll be a refresher for you. If you have notes, you'll understand it a little bit better if you make your own notes next to it. So that being said, I'm going to go into what we went over every single week. So this is something you need to say to yourself daily, if not hourly, if not minute by minute. So we tell ourselves that we're sorry for all the things that we have done to ourselves. Thoughts we have, and that can be a thought of, oh, geez, my hair looks horrible today. That's not a kind thing to say to yourself. So it can be something as simple as that to, I'm a big fat cow. I just can't stand myself. Oh, why are you talking to yourself like that? So we're going to say, I'm sorry to ourselves and be kind to ourselves. We're going to say, please forgive me for all the things that I've done that has created this suffering inside of me. Thank you for the forgiveness, and I love you. So we say these things to ourselves as if we're our best friend, because we are our best friend. So there's some truths that we're going to go over. We go over them every week. All right. Well, number one is truth. Truth. You have to be truthful to yourself. Stop telling yourself stories that aren't true about yourself. See, we go through all these things inside ourselves, and we tell ourselves these things that aren't true about ourselves because we think other people think this of us. And that's not even true. But we think that, so we tell ourselves that. So tell yourself the truth. Give yourself loving kindness. Be patient with yourself, because this takes a while. It takes a while to stop thinking these things about yourself that you've thought your entire life. Give it some effort. Really try. Really try. And this will all, if you do all these things, it will bring balance inside. Balance. Satya, metta, kanti, vidya, ubeka. Those are Pali words for this. So what is the truth? Here we go. There's 4 truths. There is suffering. That's a truth. There's a cause to the suffering. That's another truth. The suffering will stop. Cessation of suffering. That means it's going to stop. Nothing lasts forever. So if it doesn't last forever, it'll eventually stop. And there's a path that leads to the cessation of suffering. And that path I have written over here. So we're walking our way step by step. So the first leg of this path is the right view. And we said this last week, but I actually wrote a little bit of an explanation on each one, just so we can bring it in and have a true understanding. So number 1, right view. That's an observation that leads away from delusion and the wrong view. So if you're having delusions of how you really are viewing things, not as they really are, but as you think they are. That's a toughie, because a lot of times we're viewing things and it's not at all what we see. It's not at all what we think. We're seeing it, but it's not really what we're seeing. They had a picture of one of those, or who it was, but I can't remember which one it was. But he had his hand up. Let's see. It was like this, I think, like this. So on the side view, it looked like he was doing this, see? But in reality, he had 3 fingers up. So on one picture, it was the same picture, just a different angle. One angle, it looked like he had the middle finger. The other angle, he had 3 fingers up. But it was the same picture, exactly the same. Everything in the picture was the same. It's just they took it at a different angle. Sometimes what we see, what we view, isn't really what it is. So be careful on the judgments that you're making inside yourself, right? It's easy to do. It's easy to think, oh, well, this is a for sure thing. But how many times have you said to yourself, this is a for sure thing. I know this is right. And it turns out it's not right at all, right? This is a view that you're having that's a delusion. But if you stay in the present moment, in this moment in time, what's the right view in this moment? Loving kindness inside yourself. There's no delusion in that. The delusion is when we go to the past or to the future, where there's chaos. But if we know this present moment, what are we doing in this present moment? There's no delusion there, and there's no suffering there. Okay, next one, thought. Eliminate thoughts of greed, anger, ignorance, etc., 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 right? Because what do? They don't do anything but make you suffer. Anger, make you have a heart attack. You know, like everything that you do in here affects this, right? It does. It affects everything. So you have to be careful of your thoughts. You are talking to yourself. You're talking to yourself. So what are you saying inside yourself? Which leads us to speech. So words of truth, honesty, encouragement, compassion, joy, and praise. How often do we do that? How often do you tell yourself you did a good job? How often do you say, oh, you know what? You look good today. How often do you say, oh, I love you, you beautiful soul? Huh? How often? So if we have the right speech, see, we're starting to get rid of the suffering. This is how you do it. This is the pathway to do it. And it seems like a lot, but really they follow each other. So it's not, once you start having the right view, then the right thoughts will automatically start coming in, Then the speech you'll just automatically have the right speech because you're having the right thought. It can't help but have the right speech. If your thoughts are right, then what's coming out of here is going to be right. They just fall. It's automatic. Boom, boom, boom. We think it's a lot. It's only 8, but we think it's a lot, but it's really not. Because once you do the first one, the second one follows. Once you do the second one, third, and it's just automatic. It's like an elevator. You push a button, you automatically go down. You got to push the button, get there, right? That's the way this is. You have to push this first button and having the right view. Then we go down to the right action. No committing unwholesome acts or deeds, right? Be kind. Bottom line, be kind and loving, period. That's it. Like anything else is not in this little thing here, right? And it's going to do this. It's going to create suffering. So if you can just remember, be kind, be kind, be kind. No suffering. Be kind, no suffering. And we're talking about you because you can't do this to anybody else. You have to do it to yourself. Once you do it to yourself, it will automatically flow to everybody else. You won't even have to think about, oh, I need to be kind to this person because you're already thinking these thoughts inside yourself. So it will be automatic. You're doing it to everybody else. Right livelihood. No stealing, no killing, no harming, this is a given, really. So if we're doing this, we're not doing this. If we have the right view, we're having the right livelihood. We're not killing, we're not stealing, we're not hurting people. All right. You have to give it the right effort. Giving effort. Like really care enough about yourself to start doing these things inside yourself. This is what it amounts to. I mean, honestly, it's a whole thing of self-love. That's, I mean, really, that's what it is. We're learning to love ourselves because we've been taught not to. You know, everything you see. Yeah, I came back from Thailand, and I don't watch TV, but I came back from Thailand, and my brother was watching TV, and I was like, "Whew, I would go in my room." You know, this is just way too much for me because it was all like every commercial was about, you know, something that wasn't perfect on somebody's body and how to make it perfect, or you know how the something else is imperfect, or always just feeding you this line of garbage of, you know, making everyone in the world insecure. Stop watching that. You know, you're beautiful just the way you are. You are beautiful people inside. This is not you. This is the car you're driving. So give it the effort to really look at yourself and love yourself. And I cannot tell you how many people I talk to on a daily basis that do not. The general population do not love their self. And that's an astounding thing to think about, really, because I was there. I used to be there. I used to not love myself. And I had to learn how to love myself. And it's not ego, because a lot of times we confuse that because we're taught to be confused about that. We're taught that your ego is you, oh, you love yourself, you got ego. Not a true statement, okay? Ego is when you're thinking things like, why do they have that and I don't? How come they got the raise and I didn't get a raise? This is your ego speaking to you inside yourself, okay? But when you actually start caring for yourself and giving yourself loving kindness, you don't even think about what someone else is getting because you're giving yourself this loving kindness inside. You're just like, oh, look, let me give you some love. And you don't care what, not that you don't care about other people, but you're happy for someone else when they get a promotion or you're happy. You're like, ah, oh, that's a beautiful thing. Because you're happy inside yourself, because you love yourself. You're secure inside yourself, and you know that you're a beautiful person. We've just forgotten all that, right? We forgot it. But I'm telling you to think about it because it's true. You can start loving yourself again, and it's okay. As a matter of fact, it's a beautiful thing. And it will change the world. It's going to change the world when you start loving yourself again and giving yourself this kindness and compassion and being patient with yourself. Then what happens is you change your world, the world inside of you, and then the world outside of you starts changing. This is truth. I'm speaking the truth to you. I've seen it happen. I've done it in my own life. So we don't have to think bad of ourselves anymore. We can start thinking loving kindness inside ourselves. So the next thing is to be mindful, the right mindfulness, paying attention to your thoughts and actions. Again, being kind to yourself. Like your mind will chatter. It will go and it will tell you things. You don't even know what you're thinking half the time. I'll go, what are you thinking? And you'll be like, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. Really? You're the only one in there, right? You're it. So you need to pay attention because this little voice that you have that runs 60,000 thoughts a day will tell you things that are not truths because it's so used to that. Da, 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 da. Chatter, 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 and we don't even know what we're chattering about. Is it important? Right? If it were important, you'd know what you were thinking about. But it's something that's just playing in the back of your mind. Stop that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. Give yourself some loving kindness and be in this present moment. This present moment is a beautiful thing. It really is. When you can stay in this moment in time, then you start seeing things in this moment in time that happen that are just beautiful. You'll start recognizing the birds. You'll start hearing the wind. You'll start seeing the clouds. You'll start understanding nature. It's beautiful when it happens. I know, because it happens to me all the time, every day of my life. I see with my eyes open because I'm mindful. I don't let my mind go chatter, chatter, chatter to yesterday or tomorrow or whatever. I stay here and I pay attention. I pay attention. There's a lot of people that need to be heard. Like I hear lots of things. Even when I'm not in the conversation, I can hear someone need something, and I can be there, boom, here, because I have the loving kindness inside and I have it for myself so that I can give it to other people. I don't have to keep it inside myself for myself. I already have it for myself. Then it just, it's like a light that shines, That's what happens. You shine your light. So pay attention to your thoughts so your light can shine. Pay attention to your thoughts so your light can shine. And then the right concentration. Be here now. Meditate if you meditate. Pray if you want to call it prayer, whatever you want to call it. But you need to take a minute out of your time, first thing in the morning, in the middle of the day if you can, at night, and any time in between. You can take a little bit of time to quiet everything. And it's important that you do that because we're in this world that's go, 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 rush, 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 make money, do this, do that. And we never quite calm it all down and bring ourselves here now, right? In this moment in time. Like miracles happen when you do this. You start having an understanding for things that you never had before because you're quieting all this chatter. Sometimes we need to know why this, why that. You don't need to know. We don't need to know. It will show itself. Like your entire life has been a journey. We've been journeying, right? And it's actually teaching you everything in your life. I had this conversation with my father. Hi, Dad, if you're watching, and Brenda. I had this conversation with them because, my father's known me all my life, so he knows all the things I did in my past, right? But he knows who I am now. So we had a conversation where I told him, I said, I won't go back in the past because the past was my teacher. See, I graduated from that school. They call it the School of Hard Knocks, whatever you want to call it. It was. I created a life of struggling for a long time in my life. But I had to go that path because it brought me here, right? It educated me on things that I would not know. I can see suffering in someone and I can know what it is without ever talking to them. How do I do that? Because I had that in my life. See, I had that kind of suffering, so I know what it is. I can see it. It's easy for me to see because I already went through it. I got through it. So that was my education. See, it taught me. So everything we go through in life, it teaches us and it brings us to the point where we can help someone else. See, all my life, I went through a lot of things. My mom used to say, oh, I don't know why you do these things to yourself. Yeah, I know, Mom, but I had to because it brought me here. I'm not sorry for any of it that I did. I'm sorry for hurting people along the way, but I'm not sorry that I went through it because it brought me here. It was my greatest teacher, one of them, And it's an amazing thing that happens when you realize all of this and you can start giving yourself love instead of hate. Because I hated myself for a long time. I did some crazy stuff to myself. I even tried to commit suicide when I was younger. I went through it. I know what it is. So I can say to someone, you know what? I was there. I know what that feels like. But you don't have to not love yourself. You don't have to hate yourself enough to want to leave this world, because tomorrow it can be different. 2 seconds from now, it can be different. And I'm telling you how to do it. And I can tell you it works because I did it. I'm not telling you anything I don't do myself. But I had that conversation, and it was an amazing conversation. Really, it's probably one of the best conversations I've had with my dad, because I spoke my truth and he spoke his. See, then we were in that present moment in time where there was nothing else. That's a beautiful thing when that happens. You don't get those very often with people, because most of the time they're thinking about what they're going to say in response to what you're saying. Especially if you're saying something they don't quite believe what you're saying, they're thinking a reason why it's not true. But if you can just open your mind and open your heart and just have an understanding, and I'm not asking you to do it for me, I'm asking you to do it for you. See, I'm asking you to give yourself the opportunity to love yourself. Not me, you. To give yourself the opportunity just to try to love yourself. And when you do that, things in your life will change. And it happens quickly if you allow it to. Now, if you stay in the why, it might take a little longer, but it happens quick when you start just loving yourself. You just love yourself. Unconditional love, like a mother for her child, or I can't think of anything better. If you believe in God, then God for you, right? If you give yourself that kind of love, then your life starts to be different. You can't be mean to somebody that you love. It's hard. It's hard to be mean to someone that you have unconditional love for. What is unconditional love? It means there's no conditions on it. It means no matter what, you love them anyway. May not like what they do, right? We don't always like what we do. That's okay. Everything we do is a teaching. Just remember that. I'm not saying go out and be self-destructive. Please don't do that. What I'm saying is forgive yourself for the things you've already done and move on. Be in this present moment. Let the past go. What is it serving you? So if we look at why we think about the past, there's really no reason. We can't change it. We can't do anything about it. So why do we bring it into this beautiful moment in time that we have? To create suffering inside ourselves. Well, we don't need to suffer. We can be happy. Like, it doesn't really make sense what we do to ourselves. But it's just things that we've been taught, right? It's just things that we've been taught. We don't have to believe it. We can just believe in ourselves. We can believe in loving kindness inside ourselves. We don't have to believe that we're no good. We are good. Everyone is good. Sounds crazy to say, but there is goodness in everyone. Each one of us, when we were born, we came out with this heart of loving kindness. We had unconditional love for our parents or whoever was there at the moment that we saw them. We had unconditional love for them. So we have it in us already. We've just forgotten. It's there. It was there from the time we were born. So if you remember that, then you can reach back inside yourself and cultivate that love inside yourself for yourself. We have to do it for ourselves first. It doesn't work if we try to love everybody else but ourselves, because you cannot give what you do not have. If you do not have love inside yourself, how can you possibly give it to someone else? You can't. See, it's like driving a car on empty. It goes nowhere. You can't. You won't even start. You can try to start it, but it won't start because it's empty. That's you until you love yourself. Then once you love yourself, you're so full that you get to help other people. See, I said you get to help other people because it's a beautiful thing. What I do, I love doing. I love to help other people not suffer. I love to help them find it inside themselves, the love inside themselves, and not suffer anymore. It's a beautiful thing when you watch someone come through that. It's an amazing thing. There's nothing better other than loving yourself. That's better because you've got it inside you so you can help somebody else. So this is the pathway to non-suffering. Step by step. Boom, 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 boom. Then we have characteristics of existence. So what are those? All things are impermanent. That means that no matter what, we're not going to leave this world alive. Right? We're all going to die at some point. So if you know that, you don't have to suffer over it. It's a fact. You already know it. There's no reason to be sad about it. There's no reason to suffer over it. It's okay. You just go, oh, well, good thing it's not my time right now. Right? That's all you got to do because that's it. Otherwise, you're going to suffer. You know everything is impermanent. My computer's not going to last forever. My phone won't last forever. That candle that's lit, that's not going to stay lit forever. So we know that. All conditioned things are subject to stress. Oh, so we are conditioned, right? We have been conditioned and it's subject to stress. So we don't have to be conditioned anymore, right? We can calm that down by having just this love inside ourselves. All of this is curable. It's cured by love, right? It's the same treatment. It's funny. We have the same treatment. All things are not self, which means if you're attached to things and you think it's about you, it's not about you. Somebody talking in the other room about something that happened to them, it's not you. Don't worry about it. This water, it is not me. I might drink it. It might come in me, but it's not me, right? This body, not me, right? Everything in this world is not you. So if you know that, you can say, oh, that's not me. I don't have to suffer over it. It's not me. Why do we suffer? What is the suffering? What's the purpose in it? What does it do? Nothing. That's right, Kathy. Nothing. Suffering does nothing but make you feel bad. That's the only thing suffering does. Doesn't do anything else. When you say, oh, I feel bad for that person. Why? What does that do? If you feel bad for them, they're feeling bad and you're feeling bad. That's two people feeling bad, but nobody feels good. What's the point in that? Don't you want to help them feel better? We constantly tell people, oh, you have the right to feel like that. No, you don't. Because you don't have the right to make yourself feel bad. Stop that. That's all you're doing. When you feel anger, greed, frustration, all of those things, they only do one thing, make you suffer. That's it. We've been conditioned to go, oh, they said that to you. Well, you need to go say something back. What? Why? What purpose would that serve? What's it going to do? Will it take back what they said? No, doesn't take it back. Doesn't make you feel any better. Doesn't make them feel any better. So what is the purpose? See, this is part of right thought. See, you have to think about these things. Okay, so say somebody does, I'm giving you scenarios so you can kind of feel what I'm talking about. So say somebody does say something ugly to you that makes you feel not so good about yourself. So then you have to take a step back. Don't react. See, right action. Don't react right away. Take a step back. Then inside yourself go, well, is that a truth inside me? Like what they said, is that true for me? I mean, they may, want to say that, but is it actually truth? It's not a truth. No matter what they said, it doesn't have to be a truth inside of you. It might be something they're saying, but it's not you. Non-self. It's not you. That's just it's words that they are speaking, but it doesn't mean anything unless you make it mean something to you. Unless you bring it in and make it your own and then go, oh yeah, I am that. Because if any reaction that you have with what they're saying, you're validating what they're saying. Think about that. Because if it's not true, then you can just say, that's not true. I don't care, right? But if you feel like it's true, then you're going to be like, no. What's the point? Take a step back. Is that a truth? Is that true inside of me? And if it is a truth inside of you and you don't like it, then you need to change inside of you, right? You need to do something. If you're not liking a truth that they may be saying, if it's true and they're saying it to you, say they said to you, oh, you're mean to people. Are you? Take a step back. Look inside yourself. Am I mean? If the answer is yes, then maybe you need to look inside yourself and go, okay, maybe I need to be a little bit nicer, a little bit kinder. I need to start with myself. Because obviously, if I'm speaking mean things to someone outside of me, then I must be speaking them inside of me to begin with, or they're not going to come out of here. You have to have a thought up here before it comes out here. So in that case, you'd be like, you know what? Thank you for telling me that and reminding me of what I need to do inside myself. Speaking of truth. See, but our ego, this is where the ego comes in. Our ego wants to fight that person when they speak a truth to us. They want to be like, that's not true. But if it is true, why do you want to fight them? So you have to really, really look at the truth. Look inside yourself, look outside, whatever they're speaking. Then you're not going to have conflict, because if it's a truth, you need to be truthful to yourself and go, you know what? That's true. That's a truth inside of me. And a lot of times the people will go, oh no, I didn't, I'm sorry. No, don't be sorry, because you just made me see something inside myself. Thank you for that. See, we don't do that. We want to fight somebody because they speak the truth inside of us. But really, we should be going, thank you, because you opened my eyes and let me see really how I was speaking and making someone else feel. So here we are on this path. See, it eliminates the suffering because we're honest. We tell ourselves the truth. The truth is the truth. It doesn't matter. It's true. Whatever's true is true. You can't change it. Right? I mean, it sounds funny, but that's the truth. You can't, if it's true, it's true. Now you can do something and change it in the future. But if you did something, you did it. So what? Admit it. Be done with it. As long as you tell yourself the story of, I didn't do that, or I'm not really like that, then you can't grow inside yourself. You're staying right there because you're not telling yourself the truth. So, but once you start telling yourself the truth, it's like a weight lifts off. For many years, I've used this example before, but for many years, I used to tell myself I was a great mom. I was a good mom. I did the best I could. That was a lie I was telling myself. And it sounds funny for me to say that, and I've apologized to my daughter, but it's true. I was telling myself a lie that I was this great mom. I was not. I had her at 19 years old. I partied a lot. That's the truth. That's the truth. So I can't change that. I'm speaking the truth. So what? I can't change it. I've apologized. That's all I can do. I'm not that person today. See? Then you can let it go. Nobody can hold it against you once you admit it. What are they going to say? But you did it. Yes, I did. Well, yeah, but you did it. Yeah, I did. What else are they going to say? Nothing. They can't say anything because you've already admitted it and you've been done with it. You're growing. They'll grow from it too. When you admit it, they'll admire the fact that you admit it. They will. They'll start being like, wow, she actually admitted that. That's a shocker. Yeah, you know. And then you open your life up, you open your heart up, you're able to start forgiving yourself. As long as you're telling yourself that you didn't do something, you can't forgive yourself for something that you didn't do. But if you admit the things inside yourself and say, I'm sorry for that, please forgive me, then you can let it go. Whew, and it's gone, nothing to do. Nothing else you do with it. You can just let it go and be done. Don't you want to be done with all those things that you hold inside yourself? Ah, they're weight. You don't need those weights. Let them go. Let them go. Forgive yourself already. It's a hard one. It is a hard one. People have a hard time forgiving themselves. They can forgive everybody else in the world, but not themselves. And that's the very person you need to forgive. Really. Because your heart is beautiful. And if you're having a hard time with it, you know your heart's beautiful. Sounds funny, but it's true. You know, for years I couldn't forgive myself. I was in denial. I didn't want to, but once you just say, okay, this is my truth. My truth is all this happened in my life. And I'm forgiving myself for it. I'm sorry that I did it. And I'm forgiving myself for it. And I'm going to start loving myself today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Do it today. Because this is going to heal. It'll heal everything inside of you. I'm not saying you won't have trials. There won't be things that come in and try to get you. Because there's always things that come in and try to get you. There's always little things that will just take that little box inside of you and make you go, ugh. Then you're like, oh, why am I? Okay, wait, let me just take a step. Breathe. Let it go. Because it's not important. Getting angry serves no purpose. Doesn't serve anything. Being mad, angry, jealous, greed, none of it serves any purpose. It doesn't do anything but create suffering. So, Thailand. Hi, Thailand. Lambda One, she texts me almost every morning saying good morning to me. So I'm giving a shout out to her. So anyway, if you remember these things, they will make you stop suffering. It's an automatic. It really is an automatic. But we fight these things inside ourselves. We fight them because I don't know why we've been trained to do that. We've been our entire life taught that we're not good enough. But we are good enough. All of us are the same inside. We're all the same, all the same. It sounds crazy, but that's why I can't understand all this racial stuff going on, because this is a car. The inside is who we really are. Sorry about that. Good morning from Thailand. That's right. So if we know that we're a car and we're just driving this, nothing else matters, right? It doesn't matter. None of it matters. So I'm saying be kind to yourself. Let yourself feel love for the first time in your life from yourself. See? Actually, the second, when you were born, you loved yourself, but you didn't know it. So this will be the second time in your life. And really, you deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. You do. I deserved it. And my mom knew that. She used to say to me, why do you put yourself through this? Yeah. That was her saying, love yourself without saying, love yourself. Well, my mom didn't love herself either. So, it trickles down and goes down from generation to generation for eons. It's done this for a long, long time. But the world is waking up. The world is waking up. So now we can look at ourselves differently. We can actually love ourselves and be okay with loving ourselves. We don't have to think that it's ego to love yourself. It's not. It's complete opposite when you're being kind to yourself because you're not suffering anymore. It's a beautiful thing. Try it. Just give it a go. Start every morning with this. Just quieting your mind, telling yourself, I'm sorry for all the crazy stuff I've done. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Start your morning like that. Just try it. Try it for a minute and see what happens. She is on it today. She misses me from Thailand. So if you just do that, just start with that. See, that's going to cultivate some things inside of you. You're going to start realizing that you're worth it. You're worth it. And then you can go in, to all this other stuff. And it's step by step. You don't have to do it all at once. Start with this little thing right here. Start with this, giving yourself love. Just a little bit. Give yourself just a little bit of love. Start with that. See how it feels. And then it'll start, you'll cultivate that. You're watering your garden, cultivating it. Because you're going to have some beautiful fruit that comes from it. And I mean beautiful. Your life will be so different, you won't even recognize who you are. Because you'll be this loving and kind ball of just beautiful energy that people see. They'll see the loving kindness in you. It'll be automatic. You don't have to tell anybody. You just live it inside yourself. All of a sudden, it's glowing. It's a beautiful thing. So, I don't know. Do you guys have anything you have to add? Because I've covered some good stuff. I don't want to overload. No, nothing. Nothing. Kathy does.
It happens. I mean, as we're doing the Ho'oponopono and loving ourselves and the things. And as we're doing the right view and the right thought, the right speech, they start to flow. And sometimes I question myself, but if I sit back and just love myself and observe what is there instead of analyzing it,
yes,
it's there. It goes and it's there. It's automatically there. I mean, and it happens step by step. Because if you have the right view, like you said, right thought, right speech, right action, right life, and then it's all.
Yeah, it just trickles down.
It's just like the fruit of the spirit.
Yes,
you got it right there.
Yes.
It just happens.
Yes.
It's because the right view changes all of it.
Yes. Yes.
It really does. And then, the 3 characteristics of existence is something to always keep in mind. I mean, this is only a moment.
Yes.
It's not going to last forever. And that we're conditioned to be subject to stress.
Yes.
Ah.
Yes.
And it's not about us. So, there's a lot of chaos out in the world, but it's not about us. We don't have to absorb it. We don't have to be a part of it. We're here and we love each other.
Yes. Yes. That's right. And hopefully you guys can hear what she's saying, but I'm going to reiterate just in case you didn't. She's saying once you have the right view, and she was speaking of herself, once I have the right view, then I can stop analyzing and just keep loving myself because the rest of this will happen automatically. And this is true. If you have the right view, then you're not going to be having the thoughts of all this other stuff. It'll just happen automatically. And when you love yourself, you're having the right view. So all of this just happens automatically. Once you start loving yourself, you get the right view from loving yourself. That's what happens. And it all just trickles down. And then she said these three characteristics of existence are very important, because it's important to know that all things are impermanent. You're not going to be here forever. Your suffering won't last forever. Nothing is forever. So if you realize that, and like in 2 minutes, this could be done and over with, and I won't be suffering anymore. Okay, good. So really realizing that everything is impermanent, nothing lasts forever, that we are conditioned, we're conditioned to have stress, but we don't have to. We don't have to take that in because it's not us. Yeah, they're big, because if you recognize these things, what are you suffering for? All of this is a truth. It's undeniable truth. So if you recognize these things, then you can start just, bringing them in and marinating them and letting them flow. And, don't try to overanalyze, because they will happen automatically. So let's just look at these things. What's it going to hurt to love yourself? Right? Nothing. It doesn't hurt at all. It's a matter of fact, it's a beautiful thing once you do it. It's the process of getting there, of letting go. Like, we hold on to the suffering and we think that this path that we're taking is creating suffering. No, it's not creating the suffering. The past that you're hanging on to is creating what's making you suffer. If you just let go and let this happen, it's a beautiful place to be. Yeah, it's an amazing thing. Emancipation of the mind by loving kindness. Setting your mind free. You set it free when you give yourself loving kindness. It's an amazing thing. It's beautiful. Got anything else to add? Her wheels are turning. I wish you could see her.
So, practicing loving kindness doesn't mean that sometimes we don't get stuck on the subject of the conditioning things or subject of stress. We love ourselves, and yet we're still in this human body, and we're unconditioning ourselves.
Yeah, you're practicing.
So when we get to the conditioning, the things are subject to stress. When we get caught in that a little bit, that doesn't mean we're not loving ourselves or whatever. We just have to go back.
It means at that moment in time
to ourselves, yes, we're stuck in the stress.
Yes. I mean, at that moment in time when you're stressed, you're not loving yourself too much, but let it go. Who cares? Okay, I did that. Now it's over with, because it's impermanent. So it didn't last forever. So you got stressed. So let it go. Okay, I'm sorry I did that to myself. I don't have to be there now. I was there a minute ago, but I don't have to do it now. I'll let that go. I'm going to love myself right now, because that's already gone. Quick as that. That's as quick as it. I mean, boom, it can be done. But you have to remember. Oh, I'm feeling stressed. See, if you pay attention, you're mindfulness. If you're paying attention, then as soon as you start to go into the stress, you'll go, oh, I'm starting to get stressed. Let me back up. And it takes practice, because we're not used to doing that. We're used to, oh, I'm in stress. Let me continue in this but we can take a step back, take a breath. Our breath is a beautiful thing. It's powerful. If you take a breath, when you start to get angry, if you can remember just and follow your breath into your body, because it's giving your body oxygen, right? It's your breath of life. So if you just stop for a minute and breathe, we tell little kids count to five. That's what we're doing. We're telling them, take a step back, take a minute, Realize what you're doing. Now give yourself some love and kindness and go on with it. We have a lot of sayings that we use that we don't even know what they mean. And a lot of them are great, you know. Take a breath, take a step back, count to 5, breathe. Those are all things that are giving you a minute out of the chaos inside your mind. Because really, it's in here that's creating the chaos. Even if someone out there is saying something to you, it's only the thoughts that you have about what they're saying that's creating this inside of you. Oh, that's crazy to think about, isn't it? But it's true. Because they can say something and it can mean nothing. Like in Thailand, the middle finger doesn't mean anything. You know, there's another, I think, hand gesture or whatever that's not so good. But, you know, the middle finger, they're like, oh, hey, you too. You know, they don't know what it doesn't mean anything. So it doesn't, things that people say only mean something if you allow it to come in and mean something. That's what it means something. As long as it's out there, it's not meaning anything. They can say anything they want to. Who cares? You know, the old saying, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's true, right? It's true. You don't have to let them hurt you. It's only the thoughts that you're having about what they're saying that's hurting you. Why do they feel like that about me? What did I do? See? Thoughts that you have inside your mind. Scratch it. Get rid of it. It's not serving you. Loving kindness. Remember, loving kindness, loving kindness, loving kindness for you. That's what you need to remember. Because if you do this, it's gonna start creating a whole new world for you in a good way. Beautiful. Anything else? Are you sure? So we have a couple people here tonight, which everybody's always welcome to join. And so tomorrow night from 7 to 8, same place, same time. And we'll do meditation, and we'll probably talk a lot too. So please join us. Please feel free to come or join us either way. And have a nice evening. Be kind to yourself.